Hi guys, welcome to Chuck's Corner. We have an awesome video today. It's called Magical Toys, or my favorite toys. We're not going to be doing a lot of magic in this video, a little bit, but I'm going to show you toys that I really liked growing up. All right, let me get a quick drink of coffee. That's always the best, I'll tell you, on a nice morning like this. If you notice, we have little bouncy balls jumping up and down. All right, be gone. All right. Now, when I was a kid, there were several toys that I loved to play with. And I have mentioned this on the podcast for House of the Unusual. The main thing was the thing maker or the Fright Factory. We're going to get to that in a minute. But when I was a kid, if you're my age or slightly older or somewhere around my age, there was a game show called Hollywood Squares. Now, I'm talking about the original one from the 60s and the 70s. The host was Peter Marshall. Now, later on in the late 90s, I think they brought it back. But the original one, the center square, for many years was Charlie Weaver. Okay, later on it became, I believe, Paul Lynde. But anyway, this is Charlie Weaver toy. This goes back to the 60s. This is so cool. Oh man, I had so much fun with this. I'll show you close up. He was just a cool looking old guy. He had like a little hat on. His glasses were neat. All right, and he's at the bar here, and his sidekick was Elsie Crack. But anyway, if you throw the switch, he shakes it up. Come on, Charlie. Take a drink. Now there is a few things I want to explain about this toy. Okay, this is the toys that are pre-1970. They're very collectible. Okay, and this is obviously probably 66, maybe 67. The gears inside are all metal. All right, things made nowadays are the cheap plastic neoprene gears that crack, they split. He still works after over 50 years. He takes D batteries, and if you look at the label underneath, it's in perfect condition. I mean, even the label on it's great. Now, I'm going to do this again, but I like the camera person, when he starts to chew on his ice from the drink, supposedly, when his face turns red, he emits smoke from his ears. Now, it does throw out some smoke, but you might not be able to see it on camera. So I'm just going to be quiet and we'll let it run through. All right. Now, I don't know if you were able to see that or not, but there is a solution that I occasionally shoot in there. It's almost like a glycerin type of a thing. But that's the first thing anyway. And these are still available if you check online. They command a pretty hefty price, particularly if you find them in the box. All right, my favorite toy in the whole world, and I've mentioned this on House of the Unusual several times, is the Fright Factory. I keep this in a sealed box. And this was the original one that I had when I was a kid. And we're going to get this out. I saved it all these years. All right, we'll put this up here. Let me get rid of the box. And I know Eddie Guevara has one or two of these also. This has a lot of sentimental value because this is the original one I played with. This goes back, there's a label on here, 1966. All right, but the box is in surprisingly pretty good condition. All right, now this was so cool. Let me explain a few things here. Look, here's the original directions. For some reason, I took really good care of this when I was a kid. Usually I didn't. All right, look at this, different ways to use it. Here's an order form if you wanted more goop. Now the goop was the stuff that you would pour. Of course, all these are dried out now. The goop was the solution that you would pour into the molds. All right, and what you would do is you had a metal prong type of a thing, and you would hold it like this. Here's the oven. I wanted to show you something that's pretty cool about this. Look, it even has the original label inside here. Okay, but let me see if I get this out. And this still works. I actually fired this up a few years ago. All right, what's cool about this is once you pour your goop in and you lay this inside, it takes roughly 10 minutes or so. When it starts to bubble on the edges, the actual goop, then it's done. Now this is a shrunken head. All right, so after that, you would put it in a bowl of water. So it would go psh, and then you just take this out and you'd meticulously peel it. All right, But what I wanted to show you was how dangerous this was. I mean, by today's standards, this is in the open. I mean, how many kids would burn their fingers? You know what I mean? I mean, by today's standards, you would never be able to use something like that. Here's part of a shrunken head. This is from that mold. And here's a green one. And there's even hair that you could attach. I mean, this was such a cool item. So there's a little shrunken head. All right. And there was different molds, of course. Like, now, this is the thing maker, the Fright Factory. Now, there was a few different versions. One was for girls. They made flowers and peace symbols, stuff like that. Here's a skeleton. I mean, this is like all jointed where you could actually snap them together. I remember this very well. Here's a pair of red lips. Okay, so you could, you know, bite down on it, put it in your mouth. This one here brings back memories. You have teeth. There's teeth, like vampire teeth. There's bones that you could, these little nubs that would mold and you'd put it, you know, like the bone that would be protruding from your nose. All right, so that's the Fright Factory. And look, I have a ton of goop. Of course, it's all dried out. But this was so cool. I mean, it really brings back a lot of memories. All right, now we're gonna skip ahead to about 25 years. When our sons were younger, Michael and Nick, my wife bought a current thing maker, which was redesigned by 1992, maybe 93. And this is what it looked like. All right, this is a little bit different, and I'll show you why. So this was when the kids were playing with it, and I made sure they took really good care of it. Look, I ended up doing a video. So look, here's some goop that came with it, and it's still unused. All right, and let me show you a few things in here that are a little bit different. Here's the directions. Okay, they call it the creepy crawlers. All right, and I have some molds in there as well. Oh, there was a mold. And okay, I'll get one of the molds here. Here we have a mold. This is with a scorpion. There's a dragonfly and so forth. All right, what you do with this, when you plug this in, okay, look at the safety features. It's very, very different. I'll show you what I mean. All right, what you would do is you would actually, once you pour the goop in, you would open this up and you'd slide the thing in, okay, and you'd close it. There was a timer on here. So this could not be open, it would lock. It would literally lock for maybe 10 minutes, maybe even longer because it would have to cool down. There'd be a cool down time, okay? So you would not be able to get inside there until it was completely cool, which, as I've shown you, the other one, the original did not have that feature, okay? And here's a little prong thing too where you can pick it out. They did send a cooling dish with this, which I don't believe the original one had a cooling dish, but it's a little plastic thing here. Everything was made much cheaper, okay, 25 years later, as you can see, it's all plastic. And so that was kind of cool. And here's some goop that was never opened, okay. And I'm sure you can find some of these like in the store, you know, like a craft store or something. I don't know exactly what the chemical composition is of this, but I'm sure the stuff that you can put on clothing that would dry, it's very similar to it. All right, that's the Fright Factory. Now, I'm going to put a little humor into this, of course. That's what I like to do, and a little bit of magic. It's very dangerous to mess with ovens, okay? And a very good friend of mine, which I was also fascinated with, the Pillsbury Doughboy. Here's a newspaper article that I happened to find in the archives. It says, "Poppin' fresh, the Pillsbury Doughboy is dead at 36. Now, this was found a few years back. A probable suicide. His body was discovered in an unattended oven, heated at 450 degrees. According to a neighbor, Betty Crocker, who identified the body, Fresh had been suffering from depression. He had become very silent and withdrawn. No one could get a rise out of him. It is believed the doughboy first became depressed when he hadn't grown an inch in more than 30 years. If you remember, he was a cute little, oh, he was so doggone cute. Okay, His outward cheerful appearance concealed a deeply complex of depression. He was also so pitifully pale, Betty Crocker said. Now at least he has a tan to him. It's actually kind of morbid, but it is a little bit funny. Funeral services will be held tomorrow at the Duncan Hines Funeral Home. Mourners may view the body once it has been frosted. So there you go. Don't play in ovens, guys. All right, very dangerous. But we're going to put this newspaper article right up inside of the clip. All right, and I'm just going to gesture toward it. We'll see what happens. Whoa! Look at that. Up in a flash. Hey, thanks for stopping by tonight. I hope you've enjoyed some of these ancient toys from the 60s that I grew up with. Have a great day.